I'm having to let this clock run again just so I can have this for my records. The United States, and especially on this date, that aspects some sort of weird emancipation that is ironically the very opposite of what's going on in this city within the United States. This is crafted slavery. If you have been through any of my shorts, videos, if they are not suppressed by TPC code injections and these men or man in the middle aspects, such as my corrupt family members. And let me tell you something, at this decade of my life, I don't need family members. I'm very much grown. Whatever the universe has aspected me to go through a birth canal of and get here, that was enough. That does not mean that you were the appropriate custodials for my life. That's what being an adult means. I don't need you. I don't want you. And I definitely am not going to continue to allow them to keep enslaving me, thinking that my money is theirs. I'm not here to take care of anybody that's my nephew, niece, anything. They're not my family either. They did not come from a chosen spouse of my own, so I don't care. Anybody that I have been in acquaintanceship with and you are a friend, your children are not my responsibility as well. And anybody that has literally obsessed and done anything that aspected because you wanted my money in some sort of artifice aspect of literal weird engagement, I don't want you as well. What I will not accept in this country is the aspect and regard that you will not, and this is to the Department of Justice and to every other aspect of the legislative aspects that are not enacting anything that has to do with eradicating this slavery on especially what is today. I'm not emancipated worth one damn. I'm telling you, I'm being treated like a animal. This literally is the novel of Animal Farm. I'm being treated like an animal, not of my own rights, not because I'm unwilling. The entire aspect of inundation of states processes are being used to the maximum against myself and other people in the same environment. I am being starved to death. I literally have lost another 5 pounds. I literally have been taking up all of my money, my bank cards, my credit cards. I have not even 50 cents to spend to get me a lime or a lemon. I have been separated from medical care by persons that are wishing to, and these are family members. October 6, 2020, I had a gun to my head and was robbed of over $10,000. After that, I was robbed again in 2023 of roommates that took $20,000 from the United States Treasury. Let me tell you something. There should not, and for myself, there will not be an enactment of the law. The law does not exist. I've been reading and obsessing about studying the law ever since I got out of the bed with cancer, asking the doctors how long would I have to live. I had to ask that twice. Losing every piece of my hair, losing all of my eyebrows, everything. I didn't have any of that in a wheelchair. But I did not sit around and predatorily aspect that something would fall out of the sky, because there were aspects that were around waiting to sign power of attorney so that in case there was something wrong with me, or they were aspecting so that it can be wrong with me so that they can get a job or get my money. While I was in the hospital, I was having aspects that stole that night the $10,000 so that it could be replaced by Relia Bank for my unemployment at the time, was literally taken from me and distributed amongst the persons of enterprise that I have named in previous lives. I've named every segment of name to help the investigators help me. I don't let any new people in. I don't let any people out. Some would think that's a lonely life. It's a strategic life. I want this eradicated, this organized criminal activity. So it's the list of names that if you go through the past lives, I'm not trying to be famous. I'm not trying to get attention. I would rather watch you people's content. I would rather thumb you up because that's what I do. I'm very private. I'm very much a quiet type. I've been forced through extortion because there is no aspectual remedy of law per my freedom of speech, and anybody that's trying to aspect that I should not be talking, this you are infringing upon my constitutional rights on this day of freedom, aspectually more so. And there's not been an insistence of it. There is an entire aspect of delusionality in this country, and particular the city that I'm in. I've not been all over the country, but there are many aspectual persons that represent many segments and fragments of this country that is a multifaceted aspectual prism mirror of complete terrorism. As I've stated in previous videos, whatever's going on with foreign affairs, that is amazing. If it's real, it could be fake news, it could be distraction, so that internal mechanisms can be doing other things like money laundering. Who knows? Who cares? Money laundered my way. I don't care about that shit. What I care about is the aspect that humans should not be treated. I've spoken enough about humans ever since Hurricane Harvey. I'm a Hurricane Harvey victim or survivor in this aspect. I lost everything. But what I am insisting of is that I'm not going to aspect to be treated like I'm some sort of animal in a barn. I have given dogs better treatment, better food. I've seen some of the aspect of people who have dogs and other types of wildlife animal that are treated with much regard than my human life. It makes no sense to track me down. It makes no sense when you grown at people in the enterprise that I have aspected can get your ass up and try just like I have. I've tried my ass off. Sometimes today I'm sick. It's not, you still continue to battle through cancer. I felt very nauseous. I feel nauseous now. I'm wiped out because with the aspect of being a reasonable minded adult, it is literally infringed at every sector by persons that they're not categorized with having any mental diagnosis, yet there are DSM-5 psychiatric disorders. These people raise children. They send these children to go to schools with some of you guys as children, and then you wonder why your child comes home and they're bullied or they're crying or they start enacting terror at your house because it's what they were learned at these enterprise persons' house that enact fraud, that enact literal instances of assault, replication and simulation, and then it goes back to the school where they enacted. Then they grow up and become a menace to society in this society, and they continue to do things like enacted with myself. They literally predatorily aspect behind persons, and some of you are of means, the working class, some of the upper working class, and while you're at home or while you're doing something that is like what reasonable minded adults do, these persons are unreasonably seizing your property, unreasonably extorting and harvesting your information, unreasonably trying to give you the husband, boyfriend, girlfriend experience, and they're getting you into a false marriage, a false relationship under with the entire premeditated aspect that they are going to loot you, plunder you, and literally impregnate you. Some of you women, you know this aspect with children, so that you're so attached to them that you can't break that bond easily, because now you have a bond with that child, and now they have a reusable commodity and a hold on you to keep you falsely imprisoned in this literal terror ring that these persons that I have first evidence of. I'm not reporting anything. Everybody in America is a made reporter. If something is going on and you have a duty to insisting this upon a government receipt, which is a police report, if those work, I know damn well that's not one law that works. I'm aspecting that. Some of you should do as you wilt. Do what the hell you want. I am telling you, it's not vagrants. Vagrants and normal civilians, they can be controlled. It's obvious. It's because it's purported and it's literally aspected that there's not a damn thing that can happen. I've been shown through this entire journey that my life will be, everyone is controlled. That's just the way it is in life. You're not a noble, an elite. You're a slave to the system of working. But we've gone into insistence with this type of illusion, and at least it's brought you to aspect what level you're at. You can at least have the aspirations to move up and down this damn ladder. It keeps going up and down. But the insistences of what I read in history books that may or may not be completely true. You know, with everything in these schools are it's aspects of misinformation. But from what I did read in the history books, I'm going through the same thing that many of our ancestors, whether your ancestors were here in America or whether they were in Rome or whether they were anywhere else that were enslaved. I'm being enslaved. I'm being stalked down like wild prey by persons who cannot take care of their children. And so they're using fraudulent means as such as my money to take care of their children, which can be aspected so that the government can see on the 1st and the 15th, whatever type of insistence that's on a ledger aspects of how your children are, or how you are paying for your children's aspects, as in the insistence on October 6, 2020, when I called Relia Bank and the teller from the customer service was on the phone telling me about how people were using my credit card to go to Walmart and get PlayStations and go to Foot Locker and buy Jordans. And it's everybody likes different. Let me tell you something. I like Jordans too, but I wasn't buying that at the time. I was buying things from my house and putting it in a storage so that I can get out of the situation that I was in and break away from a system of literal just what was not. I wasn't living by myself. I was living with someone else. I wanted to leave that situation. I have been through sheer hell since Hurricane Harvey. This city has not amended anything that has to do with that situation. I spoke up for people that couldn't speak for themselves during a time, and I didn't really want to. But I did. And I've been terrorized. I don't want to be hazed. I'm a grown adult. I'm not in college. It's not called hazing. This is called exploitation. I'm tired of calling out the laws in this state that resides in this country that participates on the world stage, knowing that it's a crock. It's fraudulent. It's fraud. Polarizing distraction that are insisting upon lies. I'm not exaggerating one bit. I hope this never happens to anybody's family members. Whatever process this is, I want functionality. I want to be special. There's something special about everybody. I want this eradicated. And I said it through this journey over the last 8 years that I will be the last example of what this has gone on in my life happens to someone. It's just the most ridiculous aspects in quote unquote modern. I don't like that word history that I am enacting that civilized people are behaving. And you have people, we are such a surveillance state. There are so many, excuse my eyes, I'm very tired. They're going everywhere. We're such a surveillance state. You cannot tell me that this is not monitored. There is not, I have submitted evidence over the last 8 years. And I'm telling you that plainly because I want this done. I want a functional adult life in this decade of my damn life. 13-year-olds should not have more money than I do, unless you are some trust fund kid, like many people can be, and or you have aspects of just being a part of some wealthy family that gave you some aspect. I'm talking about normal working class 13-year-olds should not have more money than I do. These people are giving my money, my allocations. Let me tell you something. My life is not to house Savannah, Kayla, Jada. I don't have anything to attack anybody else, but when you swirl these people in organized criminal activity as if they are, and then these people have aspects of psychological distortions that are documented upon, what is it called? This is the MHMR, and you let them believe that they can just live somewhere that was stolen. These people, they're stolen from me. I'm not sure what they're trying to give these aspects. There are too many allocations of insistence to house every person that's in the country, that we wouldn't be a country if it were only meant for one person to be housed, to be aspected, to get a job, to be any of this. Let me tell you something. What you're doing is trying to aspect and put these people in my life because your parents or you participated in an enterprise that took over. They took $20,000, participated in taking over $30,000. They continue with furtherance of combinations of schemes throughout the years of 2024. This is aspected to, it's $47,000. That's $50,000 when you go, because I'm going to round up when we go to court. And counting. The use of my personal identifying information that has aspected fraud. I didn't aspect a damn bankruptcy on my credit report, but it was on there. This is something that is to wipe the slate clean and make traceless something about crimes that somebody's aspected. In my own life, I've only had two damn apartments, and now I see on the damn credit report or at least 5 or 6 that are in mine. I'm like that, and I never lived there. How did that? Were there apartments that when I was in the hospital with cancer, because I damn sure was not in my own. And believe me, I would have wanted to be. That would have been peaceful. It would have been aspect that I would not have gone through terror. I would not have of over $25,000 at the time. There is no aspect that you need to predatorily aspect after people as if there is only one box for anybody to live in. That is ridiculous. You are aspecting so that you can insist that these persons that are just named and that have been named, that your children are in some sort of close communal aspect and that we've been some type of sharing unit. We've not been sharing shit. You stole my money. And you are using children as or people with mental distortions and documented aspects of being within special education as in the education system, and are purporting them to be living in these closed dens of isolation and literal aspect of distortion. They can only become indoctrinized, which is not in the best interest of the child, and is an aspectual custodial problem, which is a misdemeanor A type of insistence as for anyone not reporting that of what you see. And if there are statespersons such as social workers and all of these things that are witnessing these things and you're participating and integrating yourself as co-conspirators, you are aspected as party in this state, law of parties and in liability clause, and you are going to jail with the most serious offense, which is stalking. You came across state lines in any aspect to continue the furtherance of fragmenting my life and implementing into fraud and aspects of forgery and other insistences. This is a 5-year aspect upon your insistent priors plus the stalking insistent. This should be 7 to 10 years. This is a great significant aspect of punitive deterrence that should be aspected by law to insist upon something that could start mitigating some of this insistence. I understand there's an indictment per anything in this aspect of true bill. Grand jury. I'm not sure who's on that aspect. I would love to give you a box of chocolate, because if you insist upon moving in a way that is, it's not, I've laid out bones and literal pebbles and kibbles and bits, like, so that the law can be helped, so that their inundation are for what they purport to me, that people want to be secretive about aspects of that, the integrity of an investigation is not destroyed. I get all of that. I've been very much patient over 8 years. There have been 2 predicate acts of racketeering within the last 10 years. The aspects of 2 different aspects. There is one of Computer Fraud and Abuse Act, and then there is stalking. The tool used as insistent for coercion of control, and its furtherance aspects into human trafficking. When you start moving a person from place to place and then literally using their personal identifying information, controlling what they eat, and or using any type of invasive visual spying and recording aspects to then sell on the black market or otherwise, so that you can pay your rent or anything else, and they're coerced into different environments because of running for their functional life, that's human trafficking. You, by omission, aspected when you record persons in undress, record them in showers, record them in their bedroom and their undress. This is aspects that you're using for aspectual gain. This is a coercion of the defendant or perpetrating group. That's human trafficking. Not to say that they were induced into coitus and intercourse on camera. They could have been, and they could have any aspect of intimacy, and you or even self-intimacy, and you've used it for your own personal gain to enact how you pay your rent. That is then in my name. The use of the use of personal identifying information, the unlawful use and possession of personal identifying information. 5 and below is still, it's a state jail felony. 5 to 10, 3rd degree felony. 10 to 20, second degree felony, 20 to 30, and below 50, first degree felonies. These are so, I've counted over, it's staggering the amount of predicate acts that I've aspected within my AI assistant to insist upon my help with investigators to help them. It's not woe is me, it can't be the whole damn city. I understand. And if there are judges, and I've met some great judges along the way, so I know it can't be them. They seem very much, and the governor, high justice, they're not literally lacking brain skills or mitochondria signaling connection that they have an issue with putting together, charges. And if there's any collusion or integration of organizational genius only happens when there's an incorporating aspect. And maybe some of you, it's at what federal agency you're playing espionage. You're playing espionage with civilians. They are that integrated. Let's see. It was open borders that aspected the insistence of foreign intelligence, such as the use of spy instruments, such as what Predator or Pegasus. And some journalists, and this may be a viability, there needs to be a cooperation with the CIA, correct? Because an enactment of Pegasus or any Predator, this is an insertion into what is aspected as a foreign instrument that's counterintelligence upon the civilian population, unless it's our own by use of PRISM. As I stated with this multifaceted kaleidoscope, I have aspected and put a face on every side of the damn mirror that is a prism to aspect, literally making a set of jewelry that enacts and wears upon the defendants, which are criminals in this state. Let me tell you something. There's much mitigation of aspects of normal civilians at my level. There's nothing that can be charged as a crime. How? Because of the induced aspects of what has been allowed. Kid. At some point, you have to start doing something. I get it every 3 months, these things, make roundups, and then, when is that? What is today's date? Is the next quarter coming up? It should be about. I would like my money. I have enacted what is tortious infliction of emotional distress on the civil side of damages that have incorporated within corporate structures, residential structures operating under corporate aspects, and LLC holdings. I want my money. I want freedom, especially on this day. Many aspects insist upon eating some barbecue and celebrating some freedom. I hope you eat enough barbecue for me and bake some more pigs. Truly cook all the animals that are literally wormed on the soil that you call the United States. It's an embarrassment what some of you enact, and literally it's concealed from the rest of the world. Every country has problems. This one damn sure has them. I see them in total grossness at every point that I've not so before the age of, well, I've not lived like this. I'm not going to be comfortable living like this. I'm not going to be treated like a prisoner when my personal identifying information has people living in solitude and opening patio doors and verandas that they can go out onto, and you completely have me misconstrued, twisted. I want to use another expletive, but I'm trying to keep it at least aspected, though that's my right as a non-testimonial and excited utterance to show the complete distress of why I'm enacting tortious infliction of emotional distress. Counselor Paxton, per my wishes, should the prosecutor, if they're aggressive, understand what I am asking and seeking the court for as my prayer to the court. I'm going to keep stating it because this is aspectual, admissible, before the point of admonishment is to be included. I'm distressed. I'm nauseous. I'm having flare-ups. I'm a grown man. I don't get pimples. I damn sure get contact dermatitis from aspects that if I were in my place of habitability, my safe recluse, of which I aspected to amend my own immune system so that I'm not exhausted by the aspect of being pushed out into extremes. Maybe these were tools used by some investigation so that these persons that are so, some of the enterprise, you should really, they're the most, they rival the Taliban. They cannot be destroyed. There has to be sent out and the president sent the Marines, so to say, to other states that I'm not sure whom they were capturing. But they need to send something. Whatever ombudsman needs to go into these businesses and collect these. I tell you, it's people in work clothes that are enacting terrorism within corporate structures. That's racketeering. I just wish I was the secretary to the the devil's advocate to the prosecutor to take them before the magistrate, because I have burden of proof, and it's damn sure more than preponderance, something that's more than likely to be true civilly, but enactment of continued aspects of evidentiary claim criminally. That's the state's money. So I'm going to always aspect the civil side because I want all of my money back. I want $50,000 plus all the time and literal strain and over a year that an adult cannot be an adult in aspects for their own life, as I have metadata evidence of myself doing, but for the inundation of the perpetrators and defendants to move into my life like a cyclone and with or some sort of whatever the scheme, whatever the decoy, I'm going to be with it as long as I get my money. But I'm not going to be trailed by predators and allow them to, when I aspect my civil earnings, to stalk me down so that they can take it. It needs to be contained within some sort of court registry that's aspected, or put on some sort of aspect of a black card, things that the CIA or I'm sorry, FBI special interest would know, or a victim's aspect of forfeitures, because as demonstrated, the perpetrators are going to hunt. Again, they are hunting like they are hyena. And they have the laugh to match. I've heard ignorant people laughing like wildlife. I'm like wildlife. This is what hyenas do. Look it up when they're in an aspect of high stress, or when they're circling and inundating a target because they want to literally distress the target with the most innocuous of sounds. So I've watched things like this, like most people have the aspects to do. That Discovery Channel is great with that, right? It shows you how even people still are very much animalistic without the continued aspect of providence leering into the aspectual social plane so as to insist upon justice, law, and order. I get it. No one's a goody two shoes. I am right at the current moment. I'm not trying to wear a Boy Scouts badge about it. And I was a damn Boy Scout for about 2 weeks. Of America. Look at these things. Of America. I am an American. My people are the Marines. I bet I want American treatment. And not disparate treatment such as the defendants have aspected, or it's been a collection to let these people hang themselves. That, of course, that's great. But to the defendants, I want everything that you have seized and liquidated, so as per my liquid damages and aspectual pecuniary loss. Exemplary damages that bust past the $250,000 claim in this state. And acting in any business, you move me around one more time, or it's myself. It's not. Let me tell you something. I've not been coerced in that type of way out of fear. I'm outside all day, every day because I want you to enact any type of anything towards myself, as I have shown in shorts about the aspectual scores the scar. That's assault for January 8th, 2026. The continued pings on my security alarms systems. Hi, Vivint. How the hell did you take over, inundate somebody's place of habitation, and still kept their security alarms system in there? Again, you guys have to excuse my eyes. I'm literally mentally worn out. That's the brain having aspectual injury. Seeing flashes of light at different times. It's very stressful when you are literally being. I cannot wait for whatever birthday cake some lawyer's going to jump out of and state that I have my aspectual burden of proof in there, and we have already been past the aspects of going into injunction or trial. The injunction needs to be a stay of proceedings of aspects so that until I am made whole. As to the status quo of not the streets, but aspected as it cannot insist of what my status quo was before the complete inundation of being forced out of my place of habitability by the most rogue characters that are aspected as whom they are. And I keep saying this again, so we're not played as I've had to study. Is they are whom are on any logs that are in any place that I have aspected to be. That is a normal insistence, as then uses if they're using their real aspectual name. It's anywhere that is used in the normal part of investigations as fingerprints for their primary and secondary prints, as these are the only things that are aspectual to humans that we don't have alike. You can use the same names, you can use pseudonyms, but your fingerprints will tell everything. This aspectual cell tower data information, subpoena ducis tecum per the constable to aspect, and is kept on cell tower aspects per the FCC for about almost 2 years to aspect what device ID, what MAC address, and your biometric insistences that go across any device that you change. It's not insisted. You use the phone inside of America. It should be able to be recollected of your aspectual cadences, the way you speak, and your aspectual keystroke semblance of typing. Hi. Sutika. I thought it said smoothie. I would like a smoothie, although I've not been aspected as to be inside, we're a little bit mooned out, right? A little dermatitis, swelling of the, like I stated, I've had aspects of cancer, so I get worried because flare-ups and all kinds of stuff. But I'm sure it's some sort of irritant to the outside of being within my own habitability of safe recluse. But for the inundation of the defendant's enterprise, insisting with organizational genius, that's only aspected when you have people incorporated in professional settings and administrative roles and/or public servants. This is official oppression and or other administrative oppression, aspecting as fraud. And you're not absolute because you're inside a corporate structure. You aspect at administrative fines for the first two instances, depending on how severe and egregious and outrageous the aspectual insistence is. It will become a third-degree felony and acted under the statute of adding 3 or more persons in organized criminal activity, which raises that up, so that's second degree, and towards a vulnerable population or aspectual anything that as metadata of being disabled, that's first-degree felonies. I want to use these in the courts for aspects of victim impact statement. You may have me exhausted. You may have me tired, but I will never stop trying. Sometimes I'm so tired that you see I've kept it together, but I'll stutter, and I've never stuttered in my life. That's called psychogenic stuttering, or aspects of being around the perpetrators or any inducement of what their terror has caused. They whom are on the cell towers per their cell phone device ID, their MAC ID address, from being in the same area that puts them at the same street, from being on any logs that signed into anywhere, or had any aspectual person that has literally insisted upon integrating with the enterprise to relay information back and forth through an insistence of oral interception, aspecting, and any insistence that they sign any log or anything or get any similar type of job placement and aspect any detailing. It's not just you talking to someone about what you see. This is integration and party, and you are aspected with the most serious insistence of criminal offenses if you've done it yourself, which is stalking, and insisting upon web browser history, insistence of the same likenesses and aspects that has not shown a history of you insisting it before, the aspect of the plaintiff, myself, so that you can insist upon life invasion, sabotage, and attack, so that you can take over these avenues and make it much more insistent, enacting the insistences of which include harassment and disturbing the aspectual flow of and facility of any aspectual insistence that the plaintiff, myself, has a legal right to be enacting the disruption of these processes and a building's flow is a terroristic threat. Organized criminal activity, Computer Fraud and Abuse Act, breaching the aspect of a security alarm system and breaching biometric, insisting upon electronic data tampering into any phone's system by aspect of man in the middle privy attacks and any aspectual TCP code or TPC code injections, so that you can rewrite script or enact malicious aspects of malware into an aspect. This is one type of crime, but the other aspect to get into and use a password every time that you use it, and act any phishing mechanisms, phishing, to insist upon injecting malicious emails, so that there's an aspect of spoofing big business or any other aspect, so that you can retrieve identifying information, address, credit card numbers, social security numbers, at first name, all aspects, or using any aspects to retrieve medical instances, medication, that aspects personal identifying information as aspected as an item. Once it becomes a different medication, it's another item, with the same insisting aspecting the continuous intent to extract information from some aspect of personal gain. I think I've stated enough of what I want to say at this current moment. My impact statement is that I understand how good some dogs and poodles have it. They lay on nice, cushiony surfaces. They eat nice meals. They get petted and groomed. Or maybe I'm just like these poodles, becoming groomed and touched per your invasive aspects of microwave and or long-range acoustical reverberations of infrasound that affects myself and others, to insist upon enacting falsified or simulated anxiety or dread under the aspect of 20 hertz. Something that you feel rather than hear, right? But let me tell you, silly human, I've come for your soul, and that's money. The Bible, your Bible, those places, it says that money is the answer to all things. You have to, it's a tool. It's a legal aspect of tender, aspect to insist upon trade of something. And or the human body, as according to law. If you don't have it, you will aspect to restitute or you will be jailed. Thank you. I rest my case, prosecutor.